Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of the other things I've sent you for this lesson, because we're still working on hexagons and what you can kind of achieve from there. But I wanted to show you particularly diamonds, if you like, because of the way they slot together today. So you've got a dual star block which I've sent you, and again, same thing, you can cut out your paper pieces ready to make your block. I'm not going to go through that because we've already gone through that process, but just to show you that from the hexagon in the center here, if you were to divide that up, this is actually the same as if you were to do a star block from 6 diamonds. Okay, and all that's happened here is that that bottom sort of piece has been cut out, which then creates this hexagon in the center. So you can carry on and make, if you did another copy of this, for example, just carry those lines through here, and that will give you the diamond pattern for you to do just a regular 6-point star. So that's another block to be going on with. But this one looks rather nice, and it's known as a jewel, this one, because it does have that kind of look of a sort of an actual diamond that's been cut. Not that I've got many diamonds, you understand, but anyway. So this little block here is another really nice one, and all of these blocks that I'm showing you kind of fit together, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But what I did want to show you this time is, I mentioned it last time about fussy cutting, where when you've got a fabric that's got like this little bird that you want to make a bit more of a thing of, if you like, then you can actually position it properly so that you can see it. Okay, so the easiest way to do that is, when you've got your template ready, you can either just cut holes like this make an extra paper template and just cut a hole. It's like a peephole, and this is why I was saying that these clover sets are quite good for this. The other thing is, you can buy what is called quilter's template plastic, and it's this quite thick opaque plastic, and I love this. I use this quite a lot for these kinds of things, so that I've got these shapes. I've just cut that out so that I've got that shape, and it means I can see straight away exactly what I'm doing. So if I get those out of the way and show you I'm going to cut this final little jewel here from my bird fabric. So I need to make sure, because the birds are going in 2 different directions, so I need to make sure that my bird is going facing the right way. Okay, so it's this bird here, and then I'm going to flip it over because I want to do this on the underneath, because this is actually where I'm going to be folding it over, so it's kind of more relevant for it to be underneath. Then I can put my little plastic template on there and draw around. The one thing about fussy cutting is it's, you know, it's quite wasteful, if you like, on your fabric, but sometimes when you've got a design like this in a fabric, it's just too good an opportunity to miss. And I'll show you another example in a minute of exactly what you can achieve with it. So I've drawn round that, so this is actually going to be where I place my paper template to baste it, and I can now cut that one out, ready to baste. So the thing with diamonds, obviously, is that you're going to end up with lots of dog ears when you get a diamond shape. Not so many on a jewel because obviously this bit at the bottom is going to be flat. So I've now got my bird here, and if I just pop a little pin in there to hold that in place, and I'm just going to quickly tack around just so that I can just show you again about the dog ears. I've seen a couple of the samples that you've already started to make, and I think everyone's got the hang of it. So just be wary as you're going round that that has moved slightly already. So I'm just going to shift that back across, and I can tell because I've got that line that I've drawn there. This is the thing I keep saying to you, you're dealing with fabric and it has a mind of its own, and it does tend to wander. So I'm coming up to that point. So like I say, I just wanted to emphasize that we go across and then fold. So I'm using my thumbnail there to keep that nice and sharp so that I get a really sharp point on that corner there. And as I say, what you're going to get is you're going to get those dog ears at both ends. And the key when doing a big star, because you could literally just make a whole centerpiece out of dozens and dozens of these stars, and it builds up into a rather lovely pattern. And I will show you some samples of that once I've got. I'll make one of these up so that in the next video I can actually show you just a star. So that's done and ready, and okay. So he will just slot in here, and then that's another block done. What you'll also notice is, because this here, if you look at it, what have we got? We've got a diamond. So to finish this block, I can then go around putting in these diamonds. I haven't done it because I did this colour, and then I think I might change my mind because I've got a paler one to do, so I might use that instead. But you can see how it then turns it into pretty much the same shape block as the initial one that you did, and this means that if you want to fit these blocks together, you can. I did mention before the vagaries of printers, so it doesn't matter. I had put on most of these a look like a little you know, size check, if you like, but if it's slightly out, don't worry too much about it. Print out 2 of these sheets so that you can get your diamonds, and they, as long as you're printing them at the same time, they'll be the same size. So it might be better to just print 2 of those sheets rather than using, you know, trying to make the other diamonds separately, which actually you can see this is exactly what I've done here. I've just drawn across the center to make those extra diamonds on the outside. Okay, so that's another one done. That's what's known as the jewel star, and again you can see you've got that lovely little hexagon in the middle. So if you didn't want to do any details in here, then you can put, I could have just put one bird in the center there. So let's move that one to the side and move on, because you're all rushing on. So I'm going to do a couple of blocks in this video. So next one up, oops, is what I've called the squared star. I don't even know if this one's got a name, actually. I did look through my book and I couldn't find it. I've had to do it this way because it's slightly bigger than an A4 sheet, but all your pieces are on here. And this is the block. So once again, cut your bits out, but you'll notice slightly different this time that I've gone across here. So we've now got these little triangles in the middle, and we've got squares on the outside, which then leaves you with a diamond shape coming up here. I love this block. I think this is a really pretty one as well. And you can see how much you can change them. I'm making one in the same colours as the previous blocks that I've made. I'll go back and make the first one again. I just like to show you different colour schemes if you like. So on this one though, can you see, look, the fussy cutting, I've got this lovely little strawberry in the middle of these and the red. This in the middle though, which looks like a lovely flower, isn't actually a lovely flower. On closer inspection, that is 6 little ladybirds. I can't remember where I got that fabric, but doesn't that look fab? And that's when this technique really comes into its own, because you are using such small scraps. So when you have got a beautiful fabric, you can use this to really make it sing. I could have just put ladybirds around here. I could have just put one ladybird, but they were too close together on the actual fabric, so I couldn't just set one ladybird off in the centre. But I realised that by doing this, I suddenly ended up with this flower effect. And when I was talking about colour in the live feed on Wednesday night, this is what I meant about a quilt not necessarily on first inspection. You look at it and go, oh lovely, look, it's all red and white and black, and oh, isn't that pretty, and look at that flower. Then when you come in close, you actually see the detail, and that's where it's interesting, because it makes you look, and it makes you look again. So that's that one. Now, more on this theory, I've also sent you this sheet, which looks horrendous. I'm not expecting you by any means to cut these teeny tiny pieces out, because that would just be too cruel. If you particularly wanted to, you could enlarge it and do this as a block in EPP if you wanted to. I would enlarge it considerably, probably about 400%, I think, to save yourself from complete insanity. But what the point I wanted to make with this is how these designs come about. So all of these lines are taken from that original sort of hexagon in the middle, surrounded by hexagons, and then I've divided those up, which then start to give a shape. So this is why you've got this sheet as well of little tiny versions. And if you get out your colouring pencils, which is always a good activity, frankly, for anybody, and you can start to actually work out exactly where the patterns lie. So I'm going to first of all colour in a diamond on there, okay, and I'm now going to go around with 3 colours, getting that 6-point star. So I can see how that's working. And this is really good fun. So if you wanted to make, I mean, I've given you 12 on here, but you could print it out as many times as you like and do this process as many times as you like. But you can see already, so I've now got 6 diamonds to show here, okay, that are standing out. And you can see around the outside, let's find another colour, that leaves me another 6 diamonds which fill that gap, those gaps in between, which get us back to our original hexagon. So there we go, that's one block. So if I then move along and I can start looking at with so let's just go, I'm just going to go with the triangles that make up that center hexagon here. Oh, typical. Hang on. It's the trouble with pencils, isn't it? I think my entire school days were just spent either filling up with ink or filling pencils. Now what I can do is I can do I think this one's going to break as well. Good quality pencils. They're Crawford and Black, they're not cheap ones. Right, so I'm going just with little triangles here. So similar design. So we're still on a star, but I've changed it up slightly because that centre now pops a little bit more, doesn't it? So, and again, I've got this diamond shape going round the outside, so I can fill that with a diamond. If you move on, we're here with the squares. I'm frightened to use this now because it feels like it's going to break. I should have borrowed my granddaughter's. So I've got some squares in there, just 2 squares. Look, I think there's a line. Yeah, there's a line missing in this one because I could make, oh no, I see where it is. You'll have to look carefully to find those shapes. We'll call this mindfulness colouring. There we go. So I've now got, this is bringing me back to this block here. So I can either go with those 6 in the middle, or I could go with that whole thing in the middle. Or you can see that what I could do is actually take a whole diamond across the middle there. And what I'm then left with, and it really doesn't matter because you can copy all these shapes out in the same way that I tend to do, where, you know, I end up with this, and that is then your paper templates for you to actually cut, because this bit in the middle here, if I were to cut, if I show you what I'm doing, those 2 pieces there in green, and then the other 2 shapes, because you'll have to do them as 4 different shapes, but if they're in the same colour, look, suddenly you're seeing that diamond in the centre there, and I could then follow through that green to do these outside shapes here. So look, you can see 3 very different looking designs, but all from this same template. I'm going to look at this again because I imagine there are other ways of drawing these lines to again make even more patterns from it, because these all slot together rather nicely. So as I say, you can either put them all, join them together, or you can set them on a white background, or pick your particular background that you want to work with. But I just thought that was a fun exercise in showing you the geometry and how these bits and pieces all kind of slot together, so that you could maybe have a go at doing your own designs. The next lesson I'm going to show you, we're going to work with again the hexagon and the diamonds, but I want to show you a couple of techniques there to change that up slightly, and then we'll move on to curves. Okay,